Okay, so we've been talking about limits. A limit is the y value that the function approaches depending on a certain x value. So let's we're looking at this graph, and the first one we have is we're trying to find the y value as x approaches -3 from the left side. So let's think about that from the graph, from the left side. So coming from here, and let's find -3. Here's -3. Well, as we approach -3 from the left side, I'm watching my graph. What is the graph doing? The graph is going up, 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 up. So it's going to positive infinity. Now the next one says, find the limit as x approaches -5. Well, this one's very interesting because at x equals -5, there is a point here. But that is not where the graph is approaching. So if I come in from the left, I'm approaching this point. If I come in from the right, I'm approaching that point. This is the point the graph is approaching. And that is 4. Excuse me. Wow. Okay, what about -1? So when x is -1, I'm looking at as I'm coming in from the left, as I approach it from the right, and both sides are approaching the same number, and that's a -1. The next one says the limit as x approaches -3, but this time it's not giving me a direction. So in part A, we approached -3 from the left, shoop, and that went straight up and up and up and up. But if I come in from the right, it's going straight down, 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 down. So one side's going to infinity, one side's going to -infinity. They don't match. So this is does not exist because the left does not match the right. Now let's look at this one. 2, and the minus sign means from the left. So we're approaching 2. Here's x equals 2. I'm following the graph. If I'm coming in from the left side, the y value there is 1. X approaches 2 with a plus. That means I'm coming in from the right side. So here's 2, but if I'm coming from the right side of the graph, I'm actually approaching this point, which would be 6. So what about the limit at 2? Well, if I'm not given a direction, then they have to match the left side and the right side. And the left side was 1, and the right side went to 6. They don't match, so this limit does not exist. Okay, what about the limit as x goes to -infinity? Ooh, okay, so x goes to -infinity. That would be going this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. And notice what's happening with this graph. This dashed line means that there's an asymptote there. So this graph is going to level off, and it's going to get really, really close to this line. It won't touch it, but it's approaching it. So as we go further and further and further, more negative, more negative, more negative, more negative, we're going to get closer and closer and closer to that asymptote. We are approaching 2. What about on the right side? So as x goes to positive infinity, so we're looking as x goes to positive infinity this way, watch what the graph is doing here. It's going up. That arrow means it continues in that trajectory forever and ever and ever and ever. That side would approach positive infinity. Okay. Let's look at another graph. So we've got this one. As x approaches -3 from the left. Here's -3. From the left, so I'm following where the graph's going. The graph is approaching y equals 0. Now there is a point up here, but I'm not concerned about the point. I'm concerned about where the graph is going, where it's headed. As x approaches -6. So here's x is -6. Here, the left side and the right side are approaching the same place, and that's a -4. As x approaches -1 with a plus, that means from the right. x approaches -1 from the right, the y value is 2. As x approaches -3 with a plus, that means from the right, here's next -3. If I'm coming from the right, I'm actually hitting that same spot, y equals 0. As x approaches 4 from the left, well, this is kind of interesting. Here's when x is 4. From the left side, this graph stops right here. It does not get close to 4. It stops at 3. So it's not approaching anything as we go to 4. So this one does not exist. But what about from the right side? Well, from the right side, it's going down, 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 down. It goes to -infinity. So what is the limit at +4? Well, one side's going to -infinity, the other side doesn't even reach it, so it does not exist. Okay, what about -4? When x is -4 coming from the right. So here's x is -4. I'm looking for the graph. If I'm coming in from the right, I'm going to that point, which looks like -2.5. If I'm coming from the left, though, so coming in from the left side, that means I'm coming in this way, and my y value is -6. So on the homework, you're going to be doing a few more of these.